Welcome to the Blue Cafe. We offer stories of infidelity, betrayal, and redemption. Please like and subscribe. Cheers. Now, on to today's story. Me M28 being cheated by my wife F28 and just found it out a year later. I am so in a confused state and needs advice. Reconciliation. To whoever is willing to read this, I'm really new at Reddit. I just made my Reddit account to share this story with you. I know you guys from YouTube, some of you even wrote your story as a therapy for your problem. I wrote this wholeheartedly with a wish that I could alleviate some of my burdens. You could read this as entertainment or take this as a life experience and take something from my story. I just want to say thank you to any of you who willingly read this. It meant so much to me that you regard me enough to read this. I'll never be able to tell this to anybody close to me because of my background, and I think nobody would be as neutral enough as you guys who never knew about me. You could give your peace of mind about this, you could judge me, you could give advice or whatever, and with all that I once more say thanks a lot for all of your concern. But I do need advice from a third-person point of view. I can't be neutral enough to think about him clearly because of the pain. Sorry for my bad English, and I don't know about terms in Reddit or whatever, so I wrote this in my capability of writing. Please enjoy, lol. Me M28 being cheated by my wife F28. A little bit of my background. I came from a developing country, which in society mostly still uses conventional and religious points of view in seeing a marriage. We mostly saw an out-of-marriage sex as a taboo, and it was forbidden by my faith and religion. In my case, I have principles that I won't do out-of-marriage sex, even though I did think a bit liberally, and as a normal human being, I still have my lust. I did sexual intercourse like making out and petting. Damn, I had to use an old term, sorry, but yes, I'm old and out of date, but never did a penetration. Mostly because of my ego. I'm proud if could keep my virginity, religious childhood education, so I'll never take others. Virgins are still quite a lot around 100 years ago. My wife is not a virgin, which hurts my pride a bit, which also starts off all my problems. As you know, I think a bit liberally, but still, growing up in a religious society gave you a kinda mixed way of seeing and thinking. And that part that hurt my pride actually made me do mean things to my girlfriend wife. Like flirting and dating other girls, mind you. I'm pretty good at it, not really good though, just good enough, or overly react and blaming her for every mistake. Degraded her because of what she has done and disregard her. We fought a lot back then. She complained she was angry and broken mostly because of how I degraded her. Before our marriage, I tried to start over. I asked for her apologies. I promised that I won't degrade her anymore, even though it happened quite early in our relationship and at a later date before we married. I never did that anymore. But a broken heart is a broken heart. I still have to ask for forgiveness from her. She said she will try to forgive me and we could start over, even though she also asked for a breakup quite a few times. I met my wife in 2012, we went to the same middle school but never actually get to know each other. We got close when we met at college. We started dating in 2014 and we married in 2018. In 2019 we had LDR. My wife had to work in a different city. Lack of intimacy happened in my marriage. Probably to each other, but I think it was mostly because of me. Sometimes I hit her when we fought, but mostly when my wife went crazy, when she went out of control or was stubborn. And it was a mistake, I know. We fought a lot. She always blamed me for everything I lack and past mistakes. I made a lot of mistakes for her. Some are fatal for relationships, some I changed, some don't. I never deny my mistakes, and always ask for her forgiveness, because deep down, I know it all happened because of me, because of what she had experienced when we were dating. I just happen to be a fool who doesn't have the ability to change some of my mistakes, and I repeat it. Especially at flirting with women. But since a long time ago I always made myself a line that I would never cross, sexual intercourse. We married quite young, and she is the only woman I ever had sex with. We did out of marriage sex, because I love her so much, I feels she is the one. Then I made the line. I did that because the only thing I am afraid of in a relationship is being cheated on, and also, I pretty damn well know, that it would destroy a girlfriend's wife heart and destroy our relationship or marriage. I have dated some girls before our marriage, even though we are in a relationship. It was a mistake, I know. I ask forgiveness, but I repeat again. But never once I crossed the line. Just going for coffee or going to the cinema. She eventually found out about it, she got angry, she was mad. I ask for forgiveness, again, but I still repeat. I did it 4 times when we were still dating. But the only one and last mistake I made, even though I was already in a marriage relationship, I hit on my coworker. We had a date, ate and went to the cinema twice, with the same girl. No relationship, no intimate or affectionate relationship, just going out as co-workers, probably telling a few personal stories, that's it. Life goes on. Early 2020, when I went out of the city for work for a few days. She went to the doctor and she told me she was pregnant. I never asked for a child, I want one, but never forced or expected from my wife. I was so happy, really happy. I said to myself, I'll never repeat my mistakes again at that part. I wouldn't want to destroy her heart. I said to her, please remind me whenever I do something that makes you uncomfortable, or at other times if I repeat my mistake. I never raised my hand anymore. I tried to help with house chores, because at one point she got so angry and said I'm too lazy and just doing whatever I wanna do and never helps. She was tired and pregnant. I never disregarded her anymore. I tried to make her comfortable with her pregnancy. My son was born. We were happy. But after a few months, all of a sudden, our relationship went south. We fought a lot, she was mad as hell to me, for every little thing. Just a few wrong words, we went crazy. And she always repeats my old mistakes. She said I disregarded her, I degraded her, by going out with girls. At that point, she said she knew that I went out with my girl co-worker. I said to her, I'm sorry, I just grab a coffee and going to cinema, twice, and I'll never repeat it. We have our son, I won't ever repeat that again. It was a mistake and I did that after we married. I said it was my biggest mistake, and I'm really sorry. After that point, our relationship went cold. We fought at every occasion. She asked me to divorce her, in every fight. We literally almost fight every day. I was so afraid to talk to her. She denied sexual intercourse, she denied touching me or even a kiss. I said to myself, this all happened because of me, because of my mistakes, because I repeat some fatal mistakes before. And probably if I changed myself wholeheartedly and changed myself for the better at all the mistakes she points at me, she at one point would forgive me, and our relationship would be better. I never asked for her to touch me anymore, and just shut up and swallowed everything she blew up at me. I keep telling myself as long as I'm strong and have faith that my relationship will change for the better. That making myself better for her will mend our relationship. One by one, I try to mend everything wrong with me, every single day, while holding that faith strong with me. Until a few days ago. That day, she said she wanted to charge her old phone. She went to work that day and I was at home. While taking care of my son, I checked the old phone. Nothing wrong with everything. I went to the file manager and went to the WhatsApp folder. Still nothing wrong. Until I find myself at sent pictures folders. I find myself screenshots, chats, and conversations. Intimate conversations. I was shocked, I still couldn't believe myself. I felt every possible negative emotion swirling inside my heart. I still believed my wife wouldn't do anything that would destroy our marriage. I believe this was my punishment. I probably was worth being treated this way. I kept silent. I took my sleeping son to my parents' house and told them I needed to go to my friend's house because some problem came up. I went to my friend, I asked him to read the chat and asked him, is it wrong if I suspect her? It's all because I still couldn't believe what I read. I felt so broken at that time, but I feel like I have to put up a strong face and confront her and ask her, what's the meaning of this? That night, I confronted her. I asked her, please be honest, be open with me without any other thing veiling you to say everything. I wanna talk to you, just be honest. Who is this person? She asked me back with a dark face. You think? Are you meeting him? She didn't answer, tears trickled out of her eyes. You slept with him? I am so sorry. She answered. I slept with him once. I felt my whole world crushed and crumbled down in front of my eyes. I asked her when, and she said when I left the city. Just a day before she found out she was pregnant. What things did you do with him? Did you suck his cock? Did you kiss him? Everything. Everything I have ever did with you, I did it all, she answered with a hoarse voice while crying. I cried a lot, never once in my life I cried that hard. She said she was sorry, she kneels before me, said to me this was unforgivable and asked me to divorce her because she had betrayed me. She said she didn't know how she could make such a stupid choice. She said she would not ask for forgiveness, because this betrayal isn't worth any forgiveness. We broke down in front of each other. It hurt so much, I felt a tear in my heart. I cried, just cried my whole heart out. She said sorry over and over, and over. I asked her, why did she do this to me? She answered me with a soft sorry. She said she felt so disgusted with her own body, how her guilt of her stupid decision haunts her every single day. Made her try to disregard me, made her deny every touch I made. Tried to make me hate her so I will eventually divorce her. I just cried while saying how could you do this to me? Let alone sex. I never even tried to ask a girl to sleep with me. Never touch another girl for the whole time of my relationship with her. She continued, she talked about how she suspected me of sleeping with my coworker. She suspected me because when I dated my coworker, I also happened to come home late. She suspected why whenever I went home I always took a bath and looked tired. In the name of God, I swear that I came home late because I played mobile games with my friends, that's simple. I always took a bath because we lived in a humid country, in an especially humid region. She told me how angry and how sad she was at that time. And at that point she felt disregarded, left out and thrown out. How she felt so broken at that time. She was depressed. Later in the conversation, she said she found out about it from my chat notification. She was too afraid to ask. At one point she pulled her guts and opened my phone and found out the chat was gone. I deleted it, even though there was no such a thing as intimate conversations there. I was just too afraid would my wife find my flirting and ask to go out with me. I did flirt, but never once in any kinds of flirt form, sign or code or whatever duck, I asked that girl to sleep with me. I am just too afraid because I dated a girl after I married. I was too afraid my wife was going mad because I repeated my old mistake. That's why I deleted it. I couldn't even focus for the whole conversation, I just cried and cried. I remember I said, why don't you confront it with me? Why don't you just get mad at me and confront me? Why don't you just insult me, get mad at me, throw curses on me or whatever you want to? Yes, we're gonna fight, but at least it would solve the problem. I could show you the chat if you said it right away. Or at least even when you found out I deleted it, I could ask that coworker to show the chat for you. She said she was too mad, too sad and too afraid to confront me. I never knew that it was this hurt. I never knew she was that hurt at that time. She said at one point, she wanted to confess, but she started it with, what if I cheated on you back then? I answered easily, of course, I'm gonna divorce you. And that made her even more afraid to confess. She still didn't want to accept a divorce at that time. But now she could accept a divorce, even asked for it because of her guilt. I just cried for the rest of the day, morning passed to afternoon. I didn't even sleep. I just cried. Not that I didn't care about anything else. The pain just clouded my mind to think about anything else. I saw she wholeheartedly took care of my son. She took me a day off. She put a strong act in front of my parents, so no one would worried about not getting out of the room. She just said there's problem we need to solve by ourselves. I didn't even realize how much I love her, until I found out about how painful this is. I just love her so much, it's this painful. The two things I always keep to hold myself throughout that storm for the whole year, is first, I just want my son to grow up with both parents, and I want to mend up our relationship, I want to make her happy again. I didn't eat nor sleep for 3 days. She asked me please sleep and eat. I just didn't answer. I tried to eat, I felt throwing up. I just can't swallow it. I somehow slept for an hour, and suddenly woke up crying. At that time we slept at our parents' house because with me like this, my wife really needs help from our parents on taking care of my son, and I just ignored all of them. Even my son. He smiled to me, it even made my hurt even hurt. I asked her, who's he? She cried and said softly, I swear in the name of God and my died mother, he is your son. In deepest part my heart, I just know he is my son. My sadness just take over my capability to think straight. In between my cry, I heard she tried to mend things up for the whole year after that. She tried to approach me, she tried to sweet talk me. But she was too disgusted and too afraid. Especially after I said I would divorce her. So, she decided to distance me from her. She tried to make me hate her, by saying mean words, insult me in every single cursed word she could ever think of. She even said to me, you are so useless, you better die. I cried back then, but still, I just swallowed it all up. While holding my wish for a better relationship. I said, why did you destroy my heart based on assumptions and anger? Why did you choose such a stupid decision? You know I never even touched a girl, why did you assume I slept with her? I'm so broken, my whole wish, my whole principles that I held strong, just shake and crumble. Universe actually give me hints, it gave me suggestions videos about affairs and cheats one day before I found out about her affairs. With almost the same in one part that the one who cheats our wife and at part I don't know how did I made such a stupid decision but it all also different at parts, that they still cheated on their spouses, even though some asked for forgiveness at the later date and some don't. Universe also showed me a video about stoicism. Don't know for how long, I really lost track of time back then. She said she has to go to work. She has a business she can't just leave off. I said whatever, took over to take care of my son. But after my son slept, I asked for my parents' help again, just for a while. I went out to smoke, even though I stopped more than a year ago, after knowing that my wife was pregnant. While smoking, I gathered my courage to reread those cursed chats. I don't know why. Something just moved me. And bam. I read a chat, she said, you could go to X city, where we lived, if you wanted to, but why bother to lose your precious holiday just to meet me? That bastard replied, then why bother to lose 2 days of your holidays just to go to Y city to meet me? Wait, she met him before? I tried to remember when, and it was when she said to me, she need a me time and wanted to take a holiday trip by herself. It was at the end of 2019 or at the early 2020. She said she wants to sort her mind, think about our relationship and marriage, and think about herself. Relieve as she never had time nor capability before, she wants a trip with her own money to satisfy her wish on a solo holiday trip. I said okay back then, if it was good for her, probably she would have a clearer mind on how we should go in our relationship from her point of view. I thought it was gonna be positive on our relationship. And a burst of laughter get over me, then I cried. I sat down and messaged her, did you ducking to go to Y city to meet him? She replied immediately, I really just want to die. I'm sorry, did you ducking sleep with him? Please don't talk this over by phone. I went home and I find her already back home. I said, why did you ducking lie to me? You ducking lied to me, you said you only did with him once. I said to you, please just be honest, opened up to me. What the duck did you do with him? Even though I know the answer, I was just so mad and asked her again. Please, divorce me first, I'll tell you the story, she said. Shut the duck up. I'm the husband and I'll decide what's better for us. Please divorce me first. I felt so disgusted, I'm an abject wife and person. Shut the duck up. Those words repeated over and over. I prepared for the worst. The worst, seriously, like she went crazy enough and decided to get banged, or even worse. I hate my mind and imagination. She finally answered in the middle of her cry, "Yes, I did it twice with him, I did twice, I lied to you, I'm sorry, just that. Just that, I just did that, I swear," she answered. I didn't cry, I felt that my tears already squeezed dry a day before. And I was never mad at her. The feelings that came out from the first confession is just sadness and pain. But at that point I was so mad and, pock. Continued with ducking slut. It was a long time ago, since the last time I raised my hand. I was just so mad, not because I knew she did it twice. Once or twice is the same, what happened, I thought. I was so mad because how dare she ducking lied to me again. She said she wanted a me time what? Me time with a ducking guy? She said she also wants to change the way our relationship went for the better after she gone home, and she just went and ducked that guy again? I was so mad and destroyed. I blanked out. She cried herself out, she kneeled and kissed my feet whilst crying, saying sorry over and over and over again. I ducking yelled at her, "You should have kneeled just once, not twice. I believe you are actually apologizing." She answered, "I'm so sorry, this is the last and only thing being held up in my mind, this is the last and only left I wanna talk with you, after I went home, because I couldn't just left it out, I have to tell you this no matter what, because what you've just said." On the night of the confession, when I broke down and was destroyed, I said something. Some of you might find it funny or illogical. Up to you. In our belief and religion, man is placed as the head of a family, with all its responsibility. And on the judgment day, we believe we will be asked, how did we actually lead our family, what and how did you teach your family, what did you do and where did you bring your family, and other kinds of questions about responsibility with our family. And that night I said to her, "I'm grateful to know about this. I'm grateful that you're honest with me." So one day, when the judgment day came for me, I was asked about my responsibility to my family. When I'm asked, "Did you know what your wife had done?" I will proudly answer, "I did know and I'll take whatever the punishment is. It was my mistake, it was my fault that I led her to choose a sinful choice and an abject end. I forgive her, and I'll take whatever punishment you have for me. I'll at least would be able to say that proudly in front of my God," I said. As much as I'm mad, hurt or destroyed, a man can only be held by their words. One word that I said to my wife when we got married, one thing that I promised my wife that day, whatever your mistake is, I'll always forgive you, because you are my wife. I'll hold it to the bitter end. Just like my words on trying to mend our relationship for the better, and I want my son to have complete parents, I'll hold them all. To the bitter end. And I think all of my promises are being trialed by my God and universe now. Honestly, at this point, I'm in a confused state. And I haven't decided on what I am going to do with my family. There's dualism in my head and heart. It's like a scale with the same weight, the pain and the promises. They held each other up. I really just wish the best for me and my family until the day I find my answer. I'll look for it, I'll search for it. And I just want to share this to all of you, as one of the way to search for an answer and wish that I will get an answer, whatever the way is. And my advice to women out there, please, please and please, never do things based on assumptions that lead into negative emotions. If you have to fight, fight it. If you have to confront it, confront it. At least you'll get the answer. Either we men answered honestly and admitted, or we just lie and avoided answering it. You women know the answer. I always believe women always follow their hearts. You would know if a man lied to you or not, follow your heart. And for all men out there, I have nothing. I made mistake, I made someone hurt. I'm not worthy enough to give you any advice. I made a lot of bad choices that leads to this all pain and betrayal, it's just my fault. I'll never tell you not to flirt with girls, it's hard especially when there's a chance. Even though I won't do that anymore, I don't have the right to forbid you, lol. Oh, Just one thing, be prepared to be blamed for everything. That's just what being a man is. If you are being prepared, I think it would be easier to accept, rather than learning it the hard way like me. It's just our obligation and responsibility, for being a stronger kinds. Biggest apology for my feminist and LGBT friends, this is my puff as a straight person. But I'm not all and all masculism. I believe in rights for women, but I also believe that naturally there is things that only a man can do, and there's only a woman can do, just like breastfeeding. It's a trait, in a psychological way. I also believe traits. But I'll always respect your beliefs, point of view and your rights. So I expect that you also respect my belief. I really thank whoever read this to the end, your regard. Any kind of advice would be highly appreciated, it meant a lot. Thank you. Wish the best for you all. P.S. For whoever is having a problem right now, I love you, we can do this, I'm here for you. I really want to hear those words right now, but nobody cares, so I'll at least say and give those words to you. Hope it'll help smile. There is too much going on here. TLDR, I used to hit my wife but felt bad about it. I emotionally cheated on my wife but felt bad about it. Found out she banged some other dude from her old phone messages. She said sorry. Said it was just once. Found she also had another time with the same dude when she needed some space. Something about religion justifying some of what I did, but what she did was unjustifiable. Mate, you are still young. Give her the divorce and move on with your life. Find someone mature and you be mature about it too. Hitting a woman is never justifiable, sorry. Hitting anyone really, but you get the idea. Good luck, man. I think you need to take some time off and work on yourself first. Know what you truly want. Your wife is sorry and you are no saint either. You had an emotional affair, no strings attached or no physical, but still, divorce will destroy both you and your wife and will affect your son. Get a DNA test for him too. If you stay with your wife, the memories will haunt you. I'd suggest you get some therapy. That will help you figure out what you truly want and what's the best thing to do right now. Do you even know if it's your son? Get a DNA test. Also, just get a divorce. She is not worth it. She's done it lots of times and it's just the times you caught her. Let her free, goddamn. Don't hit people, divorce her. You deserve someone better and she also deserves someone better. I don't see a marriage. I see a big mess. Advice? Set ourselves free and stop hurting each other. Firstly, sorry you experienced this. It's refreshing to read someone admitting their mistakes. It appears you've made the same mistake, having affairs, over and over again. She's forgiven you every time, even when you were mean to her. Ear mad cause she does it with one bloke. I acknowledge she went one more step, but you're hurting cause ear putting your acknowledged beliefs onto her. You destroyed the relationship when you flirted with other women. Sorry to say, but you got what you asked for. She was just playing the same game you've played for years. What did you think would happen? I am very sorry. I advise you to get a divorce. I think it is the healthiest thing for you and for your son. It's horrible to see your parents fight every day. When that happened to me, I thought they would be better separated, and that's how my parents separated. Everything went very well after that. She was tucking your life so long and lying to you just because she felt bad. You don't deserve that. She supposed it was wrong. I never spoke it and the shit was her. You could have made mistakes, but she was the one who threw everything away. She asked him for honesty and she lied to you 2 times. It may be tough, but it is for the best. Your family is already broken, so it is better to separate your son and not have to live watching them argue. He will believe that it is normal when it is not. Good luck with all this. I hope you make the best decision and keep updating. If you want to talk to someone to vent, do not hesitate to do it with me. I will send you a chat since you are new if you want to talk and give me some advice. I will gladly help you. Do not hesitate to talk to me. Just based on what you wrote, if you lived in a developed country, your wife could and should have left you. You abused her physically and mentally. You had emotional affairs. She was forced to stay because of where you live. Since she can't leave, she cheats to be treated better. Here she's wrong. Personally, I would like to see you divorce her, not because of her affair, but because she can do better. The problem I see when reading your story is the level of infidelity on both parts. Just because you didn't have intercourse doesn't mean you didn't cheat. The sad fact is you have cheated on your wife so many times over the years, every time you flirt with or go on dates with other women. This is just karma coming back around for the way you have conducted yourself in this relationship. I think regardless if you divorce or reconcile, you both need to go through individual counseling and sort out whatever inner demons and traumas you have before even trying to do marriage counseling, which will help you guy with the tools needed to start over and build a new foundation for your marriage if you decide to stay. Before that can happen, through the rubble from the marriage and all that's happened needs to be addressed and cleared away first, so the new foundation is a strong and stable one. Wow, a long read. What comes to my mind is you state you're 28 but you sound like 58, no offense meant, cause the way you think gets me wondering. Okay, that aside, ever heard a child is better from a broken home than in one, because once trust is broken is never the same as before. You two are just toxic to one another. For any art to work is got to be both ways. Get DNA. When you can ask that question, it will come up again whenever a fight occurs. Clear your mind up once and for all, perhaps can help you make an informed decision without any doubt, which you are having a lot of currently. Staying will only potentially hurt you more than the trickle truth that what she's doing. Ever read when someone cheats is the lifestyle they regret losing more than the cheating itself? Maybe for all you know she is just the empty shelf living in fear of the backslash if divorce happened, rather than having feelings, doubt if any, left for you. You're still young. Anger management is highly recommended. If possible, get a way to clear mind up like her, but seriously, if you pull yourself out of the picture and see from the outside, in divorce seem inevitable, cause you two are like caged birds forced to live together, she in fear of your moral beliefs. Learn to forgive, not BC you two deserve it, is BC you two deserve peace. Anyway, is just my take, no offense meant. Take care and good luck. Fresh thought. You both messed up. Big. It sounds like neither of you ever tried in the marriage from the beginning. Why not start over from today? Both give it everything you have for a year. Read books. Go to a marriage conference. Get a few days away with no kids. Start with love and respect. I did audiobook. Listen together. 5 love languages. Speak to her LL. 1 year. Give it everything you have. We hope you have enjoyed today's episode. Please comment, like and subscribe. Cheers. Have a wonderful day or night, wherever you are.